What would happen if you never left your bed? Let's be honest here. All of us, even the morning birds and go-getters, have those days when we just cannot for the life of us get our butts out of bed. Whatever the reason, bad weather, tiredness, or a criminally comfy mattress, there have probably been plenty of times when you thought to yourself, if only I could stay in bed forever. So what if you did just that? What if you actually decided to never get out of bed? Well, given the horrible effects it would have on your physical and mental health, you'd quickly regret your decision. And here's why. Bedsores. The first consequence you'd see in this situation is bedsores. They appear if some part of the body experiences unrelieved pressure. In the case of a person staying in bed forever, it is not a pretty picture. Just imagine. All your muscles, fatty tissues, blood vessels, and skin get squeezed between the mattress and the weight of your body. This pressure cuts off blood supply to your soft tissues, starving your cells of much-needed nutrients carried by the blood. As a result, these tissues eventually die, especially in the areas of the body under the greatest amount of pressure. Bed sores are most likely to appear around the knees, elbows, shoulder blades, heels, ankles, and tailbone. All of this, of course, doesn't happen overnight, but in stages. Stage 1 is the mildest. It's during this initial phase that a person starts seeing redness and inflammation in the affected skin, which brings on pain, itching, and burning in the areas of the bed sores. When you touch them, these spots can be softer or firmer than the surrounding tissues, and they can be cooler or warmer than the rest of the body. This mild stage sounds pretty scary. But the good news is that these initial sores go away after 3 days max once you've relieved the pressure. Stage 2 is when you'll see broken skin and ulcers, and it just gets worse from there. You can expect open wounds at stage 3 and deep craters of dead tissue at stage 4. And if the second stage can get better in about 3 weeks, the third and fourth take anywhere from 3 months to as long as a year to heal. Muscular atrophy. As time goes by and your bed sores keep getting worse and worse, you can also expect to feel weaker and weaker, and that's because your muscles are sitting there idly. Unused muscles start to lose from 20 to 30% of their strength after just 1 week of bed rest. And after a month, your muscle mass will be cut down by 50%. Remember that it takes much longer to regain muscle strength than it does to lose it. As a result of atrophied muscles, your coordination and balance will actually get worse. And this, in turn, increases your risk of having a nasty fall. Decreased bone density. Just like your muscles, your bones aren't getting any use either. They're supposed to support your body weight against gravity, but since they're not doing that anymore, they'll start to lose density. After some time, your bones will be left with just 40 to 70% of their initial mass. The bones in your legs are especially vulnerable to this disintegration. And remember how your atrophied muscles increase your risk of falling? Well, now your weak bones have a higher chance of breaking even after a minor fall. Deteriorated joints. Remaining immobile also causes joint problems. The cartilage around your joint starts to deteriorate, leading to limited joint movement. At the same time, the muscles, especially in the shoulders, knees, and hips, become shorter and connective tissue gets thicker. As a result, when or if you decide to get out of bed, simply walking will be like mission impossible. Cardiovascular problems. After just a couple of days in bed, blood will start to pool in your legs. Your heart, in an attempt to get that blood moving, will start beating more quickly. 1 beat per minute faster every 2 days. This will all be to no avail. Your circulation and blood volume will still decrease dramatically. With less blood in your body, your organs will get less oxygen. Fatigue will set in extremely fast and your stamina will drop significantly. Your blood itself will become thick and sticky. This can turn out to be extremely dangerous due to the risk of a blood clot forming, especially in the lungs and legs. Increased risk of pneumonia. Prolonged bed rest will elevate your risk of lung tissue collapse and pneumonia. This is because your muscles won't be working to remove excess liquids from your body, so fluid will start accumulating in the lungs. And since you're lying flat on your back in a bed, your lungs won't be able to fully expand and fill with air. This decreased lung volume means your breathing will get more and more shallow, and the exchange of oxygen with carbon dioxide in your lungs will worsen. This, of course, will starve your tissues of oxygen. Metabolic changes. A long period of immobility will lead to both hormonal changes in your body as well as a mineral imbalance. And since you're not moving and burning calories, you can expect to see more body fat building. Plus, if your muscles aren't moving, they're likely to develop reduced insulin sensitivity, resulting in high blood sugar levels and diabetes. The brain's reaction. Don't expect that your brain will come out of this unharmed. Prolonged bed rest often leads to cognitive and mental problems, from confusion, irritability, and insomnia to apathy, depression, and panic attacks. Of course, none of this is really that terrifying since it's all hypothetical, right? Wrong. It's very real and very possible. In fact, it's happened before. NASA will actually pay you $18,000 to lie in bed for 70 days so they can see what it does to your body. Drew Iwanicki, who took part in one of these studies, described his personal experience over the trial. When he got up from his bed for the first time in over 2 months, he could hardly stand up. The researchers wanted him to try to stand for at least 15 minutes, but even this turned out to be a challenge. When he tried, his legs felt incredibly heavy and his heart rate reached top speeds of 150 beats per minute. He remembered feeling really itchy, probably because he was covered in sweat. His balance was all messed up as well as his coordination. After just 8 minutes of simply standing, his pulse suddenly dropped to 70 beats per minute, and his vision started to go back. Noticing that their patient was about to pass out, medical staff quickly returned him to bed. It's no surprise that the guy couldn't even hold himself up, being that he'd lost more than 20% of his blood volume over the course of the experiment. During these 70 days, the researchers collected data to better understand how space flights and hibernation would affect the human body. So they used an X-ray machine to check Andrew's bone density and any changes in his bone structure. They captured his air intake in a plastic bubble, and a different machine measured his muscle atrophy. But most of the time, the human guinea pig was left all alone. After 3 weeks of lying flat on a bed, Iwanicki felt like he was starting to go through psychological changes. He didn't talk to his friends or family as much simply because he had no news to share. He also felt anxious and afraid of the upcoming weeks. However, after 10 weeks of bed rest, he admitted that the experiment had given him much more than just a fat check. He started to appreciate simple everyday things like sunshine, fresh air, and so much more. Hopefully this video has helped you understand why you shouldn't stay in bed forever, no matter how tempting it is when you're completely exhausted. Remember, it's not as perfect as it sounds. What about your bedtime habits? How many hours a day do you spend in your cozy nest? Tell us in the comments below. Don't forget to click subscribe to stay on the bright side of life.